What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Natalie Nadeen here. If you're a first time visitor, hey boo, hey, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Natalie Nadeen. Make sure by the end of this video you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. And if you like me all that much, hit me up on social media. All the information is down below in the description box. Now for today's video, it's going to be a vlog. As you can see, your girl's a little dolled up. She got her makeup, her spectacles on or whatever. And today we're at an event downtown Distillery District called Code Black. So pretty much I found this event online, and it's an event for like PR, media, communications, people who are in that stream, in that field, who kind of want to know industry secrets, who want to know what next step to take. So pretty much this event is hosted by Tracy Moore. If you're from Toronto, you know who that is. And she's gonna have guest speakers like Mercy Ian, and like for me, those are two journalists who I grew up watching a lot. Seeing a woman of color on TV, someone who looks like me, who reflects a lot of black females in the media industry, who want to be in the industry in Toronto and Canada actually. So I said, you know what, this is the perfect event for me. Being someone, as you guys know, a recent communications graduate from York. So I said we're gonna go into this event and we're gonna just see what it's all about. Maybe your girl can find the next step she needs to take to get that dream job in her field, in her career. So I'm gonna vlog the inside, let you guys see a little 1-2, and I'll keep you guys posted throughout the night. Alright? Check you later.
I'm excited for all the black excellence that's here. This. Yeah. Including this one right here. Right?
The energy just clicked, y'all. Just clicked.
Personality is everything.
Right?
Everything.
Especially like an event in a room like this.
God, yeah.
A lot of people like, look, turn around. Turn around. Oh, right. Yes. Black, just the excellence.
I love it.
So we're going to keep talking, but we'll catch you guys in a bit.
Catch you in a flip.
Whether it's marketing, communications, PR, journalism, kind of branding, anyone that kind of supports that industry. So what we wanted to do tonight is create a real safe space for people to be able to have those conversations and to share and to learn, really. So we're super excited for tonight's event.
You guys are all really excited to hear this amazing moderated panel that we have and get into the networking session. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to kind of level set and explain why we're here. I guess it was 2017, myself, Amy Adeoye, and Renee Nadeen. We came together because we were three black women in communications, and because of that, we knew who each other were because there weren't very many of us. We'd be like, hey black girl, hey black girl. And with that, we really started to think, and we just felt like there was a real opportunity to bring people together, to create community. I think we all had felt some layer of isolation as we were moving forward in our career, and we really wanted to just do something to address that. And that's really where Code Black Communicator Network came from. The desire to bring people together, to create safe spaces, and also to share resources, because we understand that often as you move through your career, it's not necessarily who finds that LinkedIn posting, but it's sort of who knows that person that works there. So we really wanted to create a space where we could share that intel and really help each other move forward. So with that, we're really excited because when we started, one of the things that we said is like, you know, one day we're gonna work with Tracy Moore. And it was like, okay, we gotta get our stuff together. excited when she connected with us and was sort of sharing her heart as well to have a space to mentor young people in India. And that's really where this event came from, really from her heart as well, and really wanting to share some of the lessons that she's learned along the way. Today is really a labor of love, and we're really excited to have everyone together. Our hope is that you walk away from this event and you've met new people. You've also had an opportunity to maybe share some of the things that maybe you haven't had a space for, ask questions that maybe you haven't had a place to put
Tracy, more.
Oh my goodness, this is so amazing, because a year ago I was thinking to myself, how can I help? How can I help more? And I'm always thinking about that. That's literally why I came into this industry. It wasn't supposed to be so I could wear Spanx every day and tight dresses on TV. How can I help the community? How can I help the community? I thought I was going to be a radio broadcaster. I thought I was going to be able to focus on news, and everything took a turn when it came around to City Line. Now, there are certain people I look out to in the industry, and they have been a warm and smiling face right from the beginning, and not everyone has been like that. Marcy Ian is one of those people. That are willing to be open and share industry secrets and lean on each other and be the hands at your back. And so, in my mind, I had this idea. Number one, I would love to be able to mentor en masse. How will I do this? I saw 3 incredibly talented women doing something incredible with Code Black. And when you can get together with Black women who are so organized and so intelligent and so efficient, you feel so good about all of the work you're doing. And that's what Boomy, Maxine, and Renee are. They are incredible, so give it up for them. We want to have people, we want to be able to help people in media, we want to be able to help people in PR, we want to be able to help people who are writers or communicators. Dalton Higgins has crossed paths with me so many times, and I see this upstanding man, father, representative in the community who always, always keeps it real. I'm sure he's had to pay the price for that, but he always shows up authentically. So of course he is here with us today, so thank you guys. I am not one of those women who will be 65 years old and have my nails clawed into my position because I don't want the young Tracy Moore to take over. It's not going to be me. I look at the young people and I feel so inspired. And Kathleen, I'm putting you in that category because Kathleen is smart, she is open, she is intelligent. And I'm so honored to have the 3 of them up here. So please welcome Dalton Higgins.
Sure, and there's a bit of the art of reinvention, which I'll get into a little later on, because what I find is amongst millennials, Gen Z, they're not necessarily going to stay at one corporation for like 20 years. Like that's 90s, you know what I mean? Or 30 years, or whatever. But anyways, yeah, I started at school. Let's go there. So I went to York University back in the Stone Ages, mid to late 90s, and it was while I like this idea of sort of being able to pick up skills, pro bono, gratis, free. So at York, like most post-secondary institutions, you have things like a community radio. At U of T, you have a CIUT 89.5. If you go to York, CHY 105.5, and also, what's the other, York, U of T, Ryerson, that's right, yeah, Ryerson, CKLN. So I was able to, while there, I was there for 5 years. I studied English literature and did a joint program with Centennial College in book and magazine publishing, right? Because we'll get into the books later. And what ended up happening is my first writing gig. It was a byproduct of me covering something for the student newspaper, which is called Excalibur at York. And I went out to cover an event and bumped into an editor from Now magazine, Toronto's or Canada's largest alternative weekly newspaper. And sort of, this idea of networking, or your network is your net worth, that is truism. I met, it was this South Asian gentleman, his name is Zuhair Kashmiri, and he was a powerful editor at the time. He worked at the Globe and Mail for many years, Now magazine, and we just started talking, went for coffee one day, and he saw that I had some pretty interesting, some big ideas that I wanted to explore. Things tied to civic engagement, getting young people to vote at the time, getting young people, people from racialized communities up to the polls. And he assigned me a story, I made $75. This is way back in the days, buddy. And I was like, you can get paid to do this? I was in my second year in New York. And $75, you get paid to do this? Like, op-eds. I was like, okay, sign me up. And yeah, that's it. And then the rest is history kind of thing.
Well, I want to know just a little bit about the history. Because so you do this writing for Now, and then how do you become the author? How do you become the PR guy? How do you represent all of these incredible talent out there? Like, how did all that happen?
Yeah, totally. It's a transition. It's a natural transition. So a lot of are there a lot of anybody here into sort of print reporters? Writing or blogs rather. Newspapers, magazines, that type of thing. Yeah. So you have a lot of print. What are you doing? Newspapers, magazines, blogs. I'd say now, and even podcasts. You go into this sort of natural transition. I would say burnout, but like I want to explore. I want to write something that sticks around for posterity, meaning like books. So you write a book and it's in whatever 6 books that are in the public library. You don't need to buy them. I don't need royalty checks. I don't care. But it's stuff that's going to last it to stand the test of time. Basically, right? So that's kind of how a lot of printers are saying, okay, write for a weekly newspaper, daily newspaper. It's the news cycle. News cycle.
I was a news writer at Channel 11. So I was still in school. It was my 3rd year of school back in 1991, I want to say. And I was a news writer. I was running weekends for an anchor. And it was one of those stations where it was just small enough that if somebody called in sick, you could be thrown into a situation. So if somebody called in, all of a sudden you were reporting. Somebody called in, you could be editing. It was that kind of situation. And one day somebody called in and I found myself reporting on a story, and that continued. It kind of gave them an idea that the weekend writer should also be the standby reporter. And so that continued, and when I graduated school, I worked there some more, another 5 years, and then started with CTV National News in '97.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So CTV National News, Canada AM.
Yes.
And then the social.
Well, it was CTV National News,
Yes.
reporting for several years,
Yes.
an anchoring news channel at the time. Then Canada AM for almost 15 years.
Give it up!
And then the social now for, 4 years, I think? My gosh. 5 years. Thank you.
Talk to me about that transition from Canada AM to the social, because it is a bit of a leap.
It was a huge leap, and because you talked about being in news and then making this leap. So we had a couple weeks notice that AM was going to be ending, and it really was the bulk of my career. And so it was one of those times where I thought, I want to be selective about where I go next. And I don't know where that's going to be, but I want to be selective. I'm at the point in my career that I don't want to be put anywhere. I want to choose. And so I left news and went down to production at 299 Queen Street West. And I thought, maybe it's developing a show. Maybe, I developed something. There was no place for me at the time. I started filling in on the social. Trace was off. Tracy Melcher, and I started filling in for Trace at that time, and I liked it very much, but it was different. And the biggest part of that transition, being somebody who professionally told the stories of others, I was all of a sudden having to open up about myself. And that was the biggest transition. I was used to, doing that, throwing a mic in front of somebody and listening to their stories, and all of a sudden it was like, no, you're the one in the spotlight now, and I wasn't altogether comfortable with that. But when I started to get comfortable, I really got comfortable.
I mean, I just to Marcy being on the other side of it. I was a producer for the social for a long time, and hearing the conversation conversations behind the scenes of like how you're doing, and I mean, I'm not in like the high conversations, but in the ones that I heard, it was because of your vulnerability and because you showed like that different side of yourself, which we all felt like we knew Marcian, of course, but then we really got to know Marcian.
Yeah, it is. It's very different. I think we're going to get into a bit of the meat of that a little bit. How did it start for you?
I just first want to say that I'm having a moment up here because I truly would not be sitting up here without the three of you and Dan who's sitting over there, because I just, you know, you don't see it, you don't think you can be it, right? And I saw Tracy Moore and Marcian and Dan, and then when I started, my first job in this industry was as an intern at Much Music, and I remember the day Dalton came in for an interview, and I was introduced to Dalton's work, and then I was like, that's exactly it. And he just became this example for me, and this like blueprint of kind of what I wanted to do. So yeah, and I'm also looking out at some of my peers that are here, and like any of y'all could be sitting up here right now, so I just want to, you know, have a moment. Yeah, so I went to Ryerson for journalism. I originally wanted to be a magazine writer and just writing profiles of people I admired. And then I got an internship at Much Music, as I mentioned, and someone else was down here, Tracy Melshore. She is also the reason I'm sitting up here, is because she, I wanted to go to New York and work at MTV in New York, and Tracy's ex-husband knew somebody, and so speaking of networking, she put me in touch with the right people. I applied, I was able to go to New York, and then, as you know how this city works, if you've worked in the States, you come back, and basically you can get any job you want. So that's when I got hired at Much Music. I worked at Much and then stayed in the Bell Media family for about a decade, and within that I did The Social, did a thing called The Loop, and then as I was doing that I was freelance writing, and Refinery 29 Canada opened, and because of my freelance writing they came to me and asked if I wanted the staff writer position, and now I'm a senior writer, and I've been there for a little over a year.
Because as much as we're learning here, today is also a time for us to help each other and figure out how we can continue to get ahead and pay that emotional tax, but keep going.
So much, right? Emails, I've heard from both, I've heard from you, and I hear from a lot of people who DM me and say, listen, keep going, or we're with you. Those voices just tend to be quieter. And I think, you know what, it's not just me, there are a bunch of us out there that need you. We need you. I mean, we are trying to continue and to blaze trails, and as Tracy said, listen, I know that I have more years behind me than ahead of me. So it is all about legacy now, and it's all about who's next. And so that means we have to be here, we have to be in solid positions, and we do need everybody to speak.
That surprised me about my industry is that everybody's actually making a different amount of money. Yeah. There's no scale, guys. Like, it's literally you go in there and you ask and argue and beg and borrow and steal for a certain amount of money. And there is a value situation happening, and different people are valued differently. So always go higher. And I feel like that's a tougher slog for a lot of women, because I'm constantly having to talk myself up, and now I just get representatives to do it for me because I'm not great at it. I need someone to go in there with bigger balls than I have and ask for a ridiculous amount, because that's what my husband is always saying. Ask for more. He takes the amount, he's like, double it! Really? Double it! So I was very surprised by that.
The community has been here for decades. I just don't see enough of us in positions of authority. You know, I'm a bit, I'm a bit, I think I'm a bit obsessed, fixated with this idea around, like, as far as, it could be, you know, producers, editors, directors, doesn't matter, you know, different types of newsrooms, right? People work in radio, television, print, blogs, but I just don't see enough. So what I do see, again, back to the sort of token gesture situation. I see a bit of what we used to call window dressing. So I'll see like every commercial radio and blogs and newspapers. I'll see one black guy, one black woman, perhaps two on a good day, and that's the extent of it, you know. So for me, yeah, the progress it's a regress. It's too slow. It's glacial. And if you're into kind of, you've hung out in the U.S. as far as working and doing different things, I'm aware, as far as this boss thing, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I had my own company, because I'm kind of like, I grew up in a household, people like Marcus Garvey, like owning things and stuff, so I'm very just big on that. Whether you own that chair or you own, it doesn't really matter, but that you sort of, you're the boss, you call the shots, and you all live here or grew up in this Toronto, which is the most multicultural city on the planet, but you have this, look at power in this room, you know? So I'm uncomfortable as you get older, this idea of kind of kowtowing, pandering to lesser talented non-black colleagues. It doesn't quite work for me, but that's just me.
It's a two-edged sword. I would say I'm surprised by the lack of mentorship. What we're doing here tonight is amazing. It really is. It doesn't happen enough. It doesn't happen enough. I remember calling a couple of people in this industry when I was coming up, and they didn't return calls, or they didn't want to meet for coffee. Like the story you described, Dalton. They just didn't want to be there. And so I found myself relying on a few good friends, coming up. So that is still very much a thing, where it's that there can only be one, right? So I'm not going to help anybody else get to a certain point. At the same time, I have found incredible allyship. Where I am now, I am working with some incredible women in particular, and they've got my back in a huge, huge way. And they've given me, or helped me, really use my voice, use my microphone a lot better. So it's just the two things that coexist. We need to do more of this. More mentorship has to happen.
Absolutely.
So that we make sure that we're lifting as we rise.
But because a lot of us are not bosses, that allyship is crucial.
That's right.
It was an Asian man, Ben Shin, who pulled me into Toronto One. It was a white man who helped me at City TV, Gordon Martin. It was a white woman who told me to audition for City Line. So we need allies.
Absolutely.
You've got to connect with people outside of your community.
That's right.
And you have to talk to them.
Just like Dalton said earlier, I think that it's hard. It's this two-pronged thing where we are trying to not kowtow to ignorant white colleagues or like mediocre ones where you know that you are better at your job than them, and then also trying to find those allies who, because they are still the gatekeepers, who can pull you up with them. And I think that's the hardest thing. As far as surprises, I think just logistically, I think I was surprised at how many jobs they make you do when they can tell you it's one job. Right? So your title is writer, and I'm like, I'm also producing, I'm also a publicist, I'm also, which anyone in media in this country knows that we gotta do a million jobs in one.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, advice there is you've gotta be a jack of all trades, so learn everything. Shadow as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And then I also think another one is that just because a woman is in a position of power does not mean she's going to be your people. Speaking in my experience specifically for white women, but I just think that one of the biggest problems in our industry is that diversity is seen as gender parity, and gender parity is seen as white women. And
for Donald Trump.
They're not looking out for us, in my experience. So I think I don't even know what advice I have there, that's just a warning.
I like basketball a lot, in particular the Toronto Raptors, and there is a point guard by the name of Fred VanVleet. Freddie. And Freddie says he likes to bet on himself, right? He was undrafted, and nobody really gave him a shot. He wasn't powerful enough, he was too short, all of those things. And he said, I don't care what anybody else says, I bet on myself. And now he's a world champion, right? And so that is the thing. There have been younger people that I've talked to who have been told, they said I had to start in a smaller part of town and then work my way up. One day maybe I'll get to this place. They told me that I wasn't good enough, or I didn't look the right way, or they needed this. Confidence is key. I mean, I tell younger people now to walk into a space, walk into a room, and own it. Do everything that I didn't do. Ask all the questions. Ask for what you want, but be prepared. That means hard work, that means research, that means go into those spaces, those interview situations, know exactly what you want, be confident about it, and be prepared, and this is a big one, to walk away. Yes. Be prepared to walk away and wait. And wait, because I do feel that there are opportunities out there and you don't have to grab everything. You don't have to be desperate about it. You can acquire different knowledge while you're waiting for the position that's right for you.
Great advice.
That was great.
Yes. Amen.
She's Marcy.
She knows the thing too.
Yeah, advice. Yeah, I'm going to echo a bit of Marcy's sentiments. This idea of just kind of being really, or how about this? You know, this idea around meritocracy. You know, they say it's a bit of a myth. You know, so there are probably some of you all out there that, you know, like you're outworking your colleagues and just doing, you know, playing the game and are well educated and all of that, and still not as much as should be happening is happening. I still do believe, though, that, you know, like you have to kind of, bet on yourself for one. I think that's what I was saying, but in a different kind of way. Whether it be boss culture or, you know, there's some serial entrepreneurs out there and people like owning things, but there is still room for the people, you know, like, you know, outthink, outmaneuver, you know, just, there's so many, if you believe that you're sharper than, you know, the people in the newsroom or whatever, like, you are, you know what I mean? Like, just believe in yourself. Or maybe it's me being a student of human history, right? Like, if you grow up like me, somebody gave me a book at Oakwood Collegian in grade 9. It was the autobiography of Malcolm X. And then I proceeded to read, you know, Angela Davis, Carter G. Woodson, and just a bunch of, and I'm just like, no, I am somebody, you know? Nobody can tell me that, you know, that you're smarter than me, that you're sharper than me, that you can, you know? So I can, that's why I'm a bit, I'm not overconfident, but really confident that I can outthink you. Yes, no, I do. Like, I study, you know, I study the craft. So I'm not just coming here with your hand out. It's like, I'm gonna out, you know what I mean? Like, outmaneuver you and outthink you, outworking, you know? And so this is what it is. That's what I believe. So the meritocracy, it is a bit of a myth, but you gotta work really hard. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can work like a dog. just, you know,
You have to do it all. You have to understand that you have to work harder than everyone. And then you also have to ask for things that you may not even believe in your heart of hearts you deserve. You have to fake the funk until you actually believe it. You got to convince everyone around you that you're worth it. You have to go home and convince yourself that you're worth it. It's a tough slog. And I think that my advice is very different from the advice we've heard from my three incredible panelists. And it has to do with knowing when you can take a break.
Alright, you guys, so the event is done for the night. As you can see, a lot of interesting topics, convos going on. I didn't want to vlog too much because I also want to be present in the moments, taking down mental, physical notes as well. Honestly, for someone who just graduated, these are the kind of networking events that you want to go to kind of give you that insight. See people who look like you, who represent what it is you want to do, what it represents, what you're about. Kind of just gives you the 4-on-1 of what your industry, what your field is really like. So for me, one, I got to meet like 3 of my favorite news anchor, broadcasters, journalists. So that was amazing. But also just to learn from someone firsthand in the experience, like I said, that looks like me, that represents everything that I want to be. For me, that was absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna, you know, leave their links in the description box so you can kind of search them up yourself, see what they're about. But as you can see, it's nighttime. Your girl is downtown by herself and she want to get home. So if you like this vlog, give it a thumbs up, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on all social medias. Your girl is Cole, so she's speeding through this outro. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Much love, peace, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.